In this short video, you will learn how to explain your evidence. By the end of this video, you should be able to answer these two questions. Number one, when I'm writing about why an argument is effective, how do I explain my evidence? Number two, what are the three parts I need in my explanation of evidence to earn a 5? Now, the reason I'm having all of you watch this video is almost everyone in our class was actually at a 2 for explanation of evidence on their pre-assessment that they wrote last week. The reason why is most of you guys only explained how the evidence supported the claim in a limited way because you repeated, reworded, or summarized the evidence. My goal for us is that by our next checkpoint, every single person in the room can be at a 5 because you are accurately explaining how the selected evidence supports the claim or statement. Let's talk about what 3 things you need to do to get to a 5. Okay, before we talk about that, I want to show you an explanation of evidence that was very typical, that most of you had something very similar to this, and this is a 2. So in this paragraph, one of you is arguing that that Anne Friedman, in her article about why liberals are just as guilty of spreading fake news, is using cited sources or ethos. Okay, I've highlighted this person's explanation of evidence in yellow. They said this is persuasive because it makes the argument look stronger, since Pew is a very reliable site known by many people. This is a 2-level explanation of evidence. The reason why is this person didn't say what they're actually referring to, like what is persuasive. They just said this. Number 2, who is it even persuasive to? They said it makes the argument look stronger, but to who? Like, who is the audience? Is it one person, a group of people? Is it Democrats, Republicans, teenagers, old people? And finally, they didn't say what argument is being made persuasive. So in order to get to a 5, this person needs to add in those 3 things. Okay, here are the 3 things you need to get to a 5. Number 1, you need a verb or an action word that explains what the rhetorical device does. For example, does that statistic highlight something? Does it expose someone? Does it accuse someone? Does it add on to something? Does it exemplify or illustrate the point the author's trying to make? Does it prove something? Does it disprove something? Does it challenge something? Okay. These are some verbs. There's a lot of others that you can use as well. The second thing you need to do is you need to mention the specific audience that the author is trying to persuade. Who are they trying to persuade? Is it, again, teenagers, old people, young people, a political party? And finally, you need to restate the author's claim. These are the 3 things you need to do to earn a 5 for explanation of evidence. Okay, so let's go back to this person's 2-level explanation of evidence. Remember, they were missing a verb, the audience, and the claim or argument. So what I did is I rewrote their sentence. Notice it's the exact same length, but this time it mentions those 3 things: a verb, the audience, and the claim. And therefore it went from a 2 to a 5. Let's read it together. The author's use of a statistic exposes to liberals the large amount of them who spread wrong information. This is a much more effective explanation of evidence because we now know what the statistic is actually doing. It's exposing or taking out from hiding a fact, right? That a large amount of liberals spread wrong information, and this is persuasive to liberals, okay, to the author's own political party. So again, this went from a 2 to a 5 because we added in the verb, the audience, and the claim. Okay, to test how well you understand the 3 ways or the 3 parts of explaining your evidence, you are going to play a game for the rest of this station called Explain Yourself. Okay, this is a 2 versus 2 game. Okay, so one set of partners is going to be against the other set of partners. The team with the most points at the end wins. The losing team at the end has to compliment the winning team about how wonderful and great they are. Here's how you play. Pair A is going to pull one of the question cards out of the cup and ask the question on the front of the card to pair B. Pair B answers the question and has to explain why their answer is correct, right? Like I chose answer A and my partner and I chose this answer because. Pair A writes the points earned on the note card to keep score. Okay, so let's say that I'm against my two opposing teammates and they get 1 point. I would write 1 point on the note card for them to keep score. Then we're going to switch. So then pair B, okay, asks the next question to pair A. We go back and forth, and each team is going to get 5 questions. So the maximum number of points your team could earn is 10. Because you got 1 point for a correct answer, you get an additional point for a correct explanation of your answer. Go ahead and quit out of this video and begin your game. May the best team win.